Hi, my name is Christina, and today I'm going to be incognito as Jigglypuff because we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. Okay, so my business is Lynn Financial. I love talking about money. I love helping average people like myself become above average when it comes to handling their money because financial savviness is a learned skill that you can master. Um, I love cryptocurrencies and the blockchain space. I find it so fascinating. I think the potential for the future applications is mind blowing. And so we're going to talk about just the basics today of what is cryptocurrency, what is blockchain technology, how are cryptocurrencies mined, things like that. And because it's mostly really nerdy people in this space right now, I thought I would like channel my inner nerd and become a Pokemon. Okay, so what is cryptocurrency? Um, there's a lot of different things that people are saying. They're calling it digital money. They're calling it, that's like the simplest form is digital money. And then after that, any explanations are really complicated. And that's because the technology is really complicated. It's hard to simplify. As time progresses and more like people who speak in layman's terms come to the scene, that the vocabulary will be simplified, and most likely you'll see just really easy user-friendly apps. But right now, it's only the early adopters that are in the space, and the vocabulary is really high level, and it's hard for people like myself, jigglypuffs, to understand it. But anyway, so really cryptocurrencies is kind of like the fourth generation of money. We started out with really primitive money like shells. People like trade, the natives traded shells and things like that for currency. And then it became gold, the gold standard. And then after that was the banknote, like dollar bills or paper money. And then after that, the next generation is really Bitcoin. That's kind of like the progression of where things are going. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency is going to totally replace the dollar bill, um, or the dollar or the yen or fiat currencies. That's a term that's thrown around in this space a lot. Fiat currency is just a term for like regular currency, like the dollar or the pound, the euro, things like that. Um, but what probably will happen is that cryptocurrencies is going to be a complementary currency so that they'll work alongside with it. It'll be like an alternative to regular fiat currency. So back to the original definition of digital money, really how, so cryptocurrencies have no paper money. Like I can't print one out to show you. It's all on the computer or numbers written down on paper. There's there's like logos for them, but there is no paper currency. But really, how that's not really much different than how money works now. So I have money in my billfold, a dollar bill, that has a serial number that can be tracked, and they can figure out if it's fraudulent or not, based on that serial number. And then the rest of my money, most of my money, is in a bank account or in other accounts that are tracked by numbers. And so really what we're using now is also digital money, but it's just really a different concept because it looks, feels, and acts a lot different than what our fiat money does now. So the biggest difference really is that there is no central authority governing the cryptocurrency world. So like for the dollar, we have the Federal Reserve, we have the central authority that governs like the dollar bill, like how much is printed, what gets destroyed, what gets replaced, like they add money to the economy, inflation, blah blah blah. There's somebody in charge of the dollar and can manipulate that dollar versus a cryptocurrency. There's really nobody at the helm of that because it's governed by software code. Someone made up the software code and all of the current cryptocurrency that's created is just a byproduct of the system that that software code has implemented. So it was first invented by a guy named, or a female named Satoshi Nakamoto. That's a pseudonym. We don't really know who that is. Um, and he or she, back in 2009 or 2008, had put out a white paper, or like, it's just a document, like a PDF document, that basically spelled out this new technology, this blockchain technology, and created the code for Bitcoin. Um, and so we don't know anything more about Satoshi Nakamoto, but that was the first entry, entry point into this blockchain space. So he really created this like tidal wave of new this new technology that has so many applications. So the first main difference is there is no government, a central government that is governing cryptocurrency. Like there is no 800 number that you can contact Bitcoin for. Um, there is only software code. Um, let's see. Some of the cryptocurrencies do have companies that are like working on their behalf. So, like Ethereum, for example, the creator of that, his name is Vitalik. He's Russian Canadian, and so he is somebody that you can follow, but still that the currency Ether um, is still software code that you can't manipulate, and Vitalik, the owner, isn't going in and making decisions like, do we need to ease up, do we need to spend more, that kind of thing. There's no one that you can call and like get your password to if you forgot, or if someone is trying to hack into your account. You can't call Bitcoin and like say, hey, I need help, freeze my account. Can't do that. So really, the whole concept of cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized. So there is no one in charge. You are acting as your own bank. There is no third party that you're trusting to house or manage your money with. Um, so let's go through kind of three different examples of how this would work if you used a bank account or a credit card or a cryptocurrency to pay for a boat. Let's say, for example, I want to go buy a fishing boat. And so if I were to use money from my bank account to pay for that boat, you have to sign paperwork. Like when I make a wire transfer, I have to physically sign paperwork. They actually like call to verify that it's me. Different banks will have different procedures, but standard is though that like you can't, I'm in Central Standard Time, so I can't they can't process a wire after 3 p.m. So everything needs to get squared away. All the paperwork needs to be signed and in proper order before 3 p.m. or it gets delayed till the next morning. And then also banks are not open on the weekend or bank holidays, or after hours. Like you can contact them. And then it takes about 3 days to settle that transaction. And so I don't know if they'll let you walk away with the boat, but like when I send a wire payment, they don't confirm and start services for me or give me the product that I'm purchasing until that bank, that wire is settled and it appears in their bank account, which takes about 3 days. It takes a while. Similar on a credit card, when you swipe your credit card and pay for that boat and walk away with that boat, the payment actually isn't going through on the spot like that. It, again, like the bank, it takes a couple days to settle that payment. Um, usually with the credit card, they'll let you walk away with your purchase because they're trusting that it will go through. But in reality, the payment isn't settled for about 2 days. And then on top of that, it's reversible up to maybe like 60 days. Like if there's fraudulent activity or a mistake or something like that, um, it can potentially be reversed on that credit card the credit card account. Whereas if you're sending it via cryptocurrency, the transaction can take place almost immediately. I just listened to a presentation by a lady from Coinbase Commerce, Amy Yin, I think was her name. She was awesome. But she was saying how on their platform, it takes about 10, if you were going to use um, Coinbase to pay for something with Bitcoin, for example, or another crypto that they offer on their platform, it takes about 10 minutes to verify that a payment was received, and that it's done. There is no waiting to be settled. There is no settling period or anything like that. 10 minutes to verify and it's over. The transaction is complete. But it's also not irreversible. You can't like say, oh, that was a mistake, or I didn't mean to. Can I return it? Like you can't do that. It's irreversible at that point. So yes, really big differences, right? Let's see. So another thing to consider with the whole cryptocurrency space is that right now it's really just an investment. You can't, you people aren't using it very often to purchase things. So like I probably wouldn't go buy a fishing boat with Bitcoin, but I've I have realtor friends in New York that are implementing the possibility of being able to purchase a house or a condo in New York with Bitcoin. Um, there's the famous example of one of the first Bitcoin users purchasing a pizza for, I don't know, like 10,000 Bitcoin. Ooh. But so it does happen, but it's not commonplace yet. And so it's going to be probably a couple years before you can use Bitcoin or any of the altcoins to pay for your groceries or your fishing boat. So, or to receive your compensation, like your salary, your wages in crypto. That's a ways off. I do think it will happen eventually, because it is happening for the super early adopters now, but that's not many people. So really, when you are buying cryptocurrency now, you're speculating that it's going to increase in value. You're thinking that it's an investment. You're not buying into the currency because you're thinking it's going to be like a form of payment at this time. You're doing it as an investment. And it's super speculative. Oh my gosh, is it volatile? If you're watching the cryptocurrency market, it can go up and down like crazy, much more volatile than the stock market. I mean, really, if a cryptocurrency loses 20% in a week, nobody is really like that surprised at that. And it's grown thousands of percent and it's dropped, 50%. It's been a really crazy ride, and I think that it will eventually even out, but right now it's the wild, wild west. So the next question is, what is blockchain technology? Because you hear that word being thrown around a lot in conjunction with cryptocurrency, but people don't really understand like how they work together. Cryptocurrency is based on blockchain technology. So when Satoshi Nakamoto came out with the Bitcoin white paper, he not only invented cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, but what the cryptocurrency, how it's processed or how it's made is through blockchain technology. It's this revolutionary type of technology that works much different than anything else that the world has ever seen up until now. It's like a huge global decentralized spreadsheet you can think about. And it involves a lot of encryption, and it's super, super duper hard to crack. So it's impossible to crack. Where it is possible that where you still see scams at is any central business or central authority that, or like a person that's manipulating the system, but it's not the blockchain technology itself that's being hacked, if that makes sense. So blockchain technology is keeping track of um, coins as they're created, which person, or it's actually not a person, it's an address, because everything is encrypted. All you're seeing is like random strings of long numbers and letters, and it's keeping track of like one address, whose address is sent to who, how many um, bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, and the balance of every account. And it's not going to show who owns that address, because yourself are responsible for keeping your address. You want to keep that private so no one can steal it. But there's a huge spreadsheet. It's a ledger that computers around the world have access to, so they all know. They all see the public ledger, the public spreadsheet, and so if someone fakes entry, you can't fake it around all the computers around the world that are monitoring it. So that's how it's really difficult to hack. I'm being really elementary now. If you're super smart about this, I apologize that I'm hacking it. I'm trying to bring it down to a level that people can understand that are coming into this space for the first time. Um, so this blockchain technology is stored and maintained by thousands of people, miners, you probably heard that term, across the globe that have access to special computers and software systems that are operating the software. Um, let's see. So the blockchain is keeping track of individual transactions sent from wallets or people or exchanges being interacted. So tons and tons of information. Um, it's a growing list. It keeps going. The information are stored in blocks. That's where the blockchain technology word comes from. And so they're time stamped and they're stored in blocks to make it like more organized. I don't know. I mean, it's either more organized or quicker. I don't know, but that's how it's made, is like all of that encrypted information is stored in a block. And once a cryptographic hash is on the block, then you move to the next block and you grab all, and they are grabbing all the new data, putting it into a new block. And once that all comes together, it's hashed, and you move on to the next one. So it's stored in these blocks. And it's also called a peer-to-peer network, and that comes from rather than like a big bank being in charge of this, one central authority. It's stored on peer networks, or like individual computers all around the globe. So like they're um, it's just this open network of whoever wants to participate can. Like you can go get a computer, a node, and participate in this, and see how it all works. So this peer-to-peer network has to follow this special protocol. It's internode communication for validating new blocks. And that's the software that was written by Satoshi Nakamoto, or another cryptocurrency inventor. If there's a disagreement among the miners or the people who are operating these nodes, what can happen is they can fork off and start their own version. It's called a hard fork. I think there's soft forks too. I don't know, but so now you have not only Bitcoin, but you have Bitcoin Cash and like Super Bitcoin, and I don't know how many more versions of Bitcoin that have been forked off. But be careful of that, because that's confusing. Like for example, Bitcoin Cash, they have the domain bitcoin.com. So when you go to bitcoin.com, you're not looking at Bitcoin, you're looking at Bitcoin Cash. So just be aware of that. It's very confusing. Um, let's see. So again, just kind of recapping about like the essence of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. It's really important that you understand that it's decentralized. There are no trusted third parties. You're in charge. Okay? You're in charge of your own money. You decide like where to keep it, how to keep it, who to give it to. So that there's pros and cons to that, right? Like your bank provides a service for you. Like they keep your money safe, they keep it stored, you can call them if you want, but also you pay them fees and there's a risk to that that they might go under, for example. Where cryptocurrency, it's not going to, there's no chance of it, the cryptocurrency, well, there is a chance that it could go bankrupt, but you're in charge of that money. Like you have, there is no intermediary that can mess things up that you're trusting. Um, let's talk about um, let's talk about applications of blockchain technology because that is super exciting. It's not just being used for investing in cryptocurrencies. This blockchain technology of how to store data really safely, security on a decentralized network, peer-to-peer, like the public ledger, that can be used on many different platforms. A lot of it has to do with like the financial industry because you can save a lot on payments and it's very secure if you can get the system down. Or like data management, because data is like it's so big what they had to store, and all the people, businesses across the world have different systems and they don't talk to each other. And so blockchain technology can solve that problem. But okay, let's talk about voting for a second. Voting is notorious for being like frauded. Um, have you ever watched Scandal? They had a really great episode on how they frauded that system. Well, we know that it's happened in the past, but blockchain technology can save the problem of voting because the way it's set up, it's just so secure. Like as long as you're not each individual citizen that is eligible for voting isn't giving away their personal address, their personal key, private key, um, the system can't be frauded. And so actually this has already been implemented. I think in Sierra Leone, I read that happened. They had their first election based on blockchain technology. Awesome. Um, it also can solve the problem of medical records. So, for example, when my dad he had to go to the hospital in a new hospital system. Um, obviously he had some medical issues, and they weren't able to access his medical records in a timely fashion. It like they had to wait for the hospital, an admin to be available to send the medical records over. They had to get permission. It had to be transferred over. It was just this mess, and it took a long time because the hospital record systems are different all over the country, around the world, and so the different companies don't talk with each other. And so if a medical record system was on the blockchain, all a person would have to do is have their personal private key, um, in order to access their medical records on the blockchain platform. And no matter what hospital system uploaded the information to that, the individual always has the ability to access that information, without having to go through that third party. So it really can be astounding the possibilities of where blockchain technology can go. Um, Another quick example is how much money it can save in the financial industry. The financial industry is notorious for charging fees for things. We all need to make a living, I get that, but it's especially horrendous how we see it in the remittances area. So for a lot of times, people who are here from another country are working and sending money back to their home country to help provide for their family. And they go to like Western Union and they are paying, 50, I don't know, like 30 cents or 40 cents on the dollar to send this money. Don't take, I don't have that fact for sure. I just know that the fees for sending remittances through companies like Western Union, they're paying really abhorrent fees, in order to send that money over. But if you could just give each other, if the home country family had an address of where they could send Bitcoin to, it would be free. Or there might be like a little money for the transaction fee, but super, super minimal. So that is going to transform a lot of people's lives in a really amazing way. So it's so exciting. I wanted to give a quick example. I heard a gentleman from that is the president of the National Stock Exchange in India, and how he is incorporating blockchain technology into the platform. You'd be like, I was surprised that a stock exchange was interested in implementing blockchain technology, because we're seeing a lot of pushback from the securities administration and like that world in the United States and around the world, but India is being really progressive with it. He was interested in implementing blockchain technology so he could make his stock exchange better and quicker and cheaper to run. So he was explaining how really the Indian National Stock Exchange is basically just a electronic matching system. So if you have a buyer and a seller, they hook them up for a payment and settlement. And he was saying that their cost as an exchange would go down exponentially for the time and cost of transactions, because they're processing like $1 trillion a day, he said. And so if the data was stored on blockchain technology rather than like the traditional method on servers, and I don't know what they're stored on now, but it would reduce the time significantly. And also, they do have tons of audits, and rightfully so. But if the information is stored in a more reliable, easy to access, and verifiable way, that is going to make their exchange so much more stronger and better, and reduce their costs. So it is so exciting what they're looking at. But here I wanted to tell you the highlights of why he was interested in blockchain, what blockchain has to offer his company. He said that a widely distributed database with different nodes or like computers that are owned by different people around the world is a more secure format than what they're currently having as just one central area in the Indian National Stock Exchange. Also, the immutability of data. Immutability, that is a word that's used a lot in this space. Immutability of data. You can't fudge the numbers because everything is encrypted. It's impossible to hack into. So you know for sure that there's no human error when you're going back to get data. It's immutable, it's verifiable. There is no room for human error there. Also, cost savings was a third major selling point for him, because it's peer-to-peer distribution. It's not costing them, he said, $100 million each year to store the data. That must be in like energy costs and just in equipment costs. But he was saying that because they're not having it all in house, that they're distributing the cost of, I think, energy and equipment to do that. It's gonna save them a ton of money. And then the last reason why he was really sold on it was for consensus. And he said that to him, that consensus term means that you can prove who owns what. He was saying that they have a lot of inquiries, like, maybe court cases that they have to go back and look in data to make sure who owns what. And that costs them a lot of time, and it's hard to be completely sure at sometimes, because again, there's room for human data, and I don't know what all goes into it. But on this blockchain technology, there is no question. So it's super exciting. Blockchain technology, really the World Economic Forum predicts that blockchain technology will become the beating heart of the global economy. So really, we're in this renaissance period of blockchain. There's exciting ideas being developed. It's really in its infancy, but lots of things are going on. It's so exciting. There's also a lot of scams, so you need to be careful of that. There's also a lot of hype. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing a hat, like Jigglypuff hat. Like there's a lot of hype going on right now. So you have to think back, remember about the dot-com bubble. Like this, it can sustain a healthy pullback here, but really this blockchain technology is revolutionary. I don't think it's going anywhere. Um, I'm going to stop this for now. Wow, 30 minutes already, and my hat is getting tight. So I'll come back. We'll talk about how Bitcoins are made and also the baby steps of how to invest in cryptocurrency for beginners like me. So I hope that you found this information helpful. Again, super basic level. I am a non-technical person, interested in technical things. So I do try to break it down to really simple terminology, not only because I think other people can understand that, but that's just the way I speak because I'm not an expert in these things. I'm just interested in them. So I hope you found that helpful. If you're looking for more of a curated experience, if you want more personalized help, I do provide that service. Please contact me on the information below, and we can set up a time for me to help you actually get set up with these things, and I can walk you through any troubleshooting that you have. If you have any questions, let me know, but best of luck to you and be careful because crypto is a wild ride.